I'm Caroline.
I'm Alexa, and this is a video about our trip to Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia.
What does YMCA stand for?
So YMCA stands for Yume, Maisie, Caroline, and Alexa.
Why did you choose these countries?
I didn't really choose these countries. I feel like the Lord led us in the right direction for these countries, really through Google Flights. I just kept looking at the Explore feature on Google, and these 3 countries just kept coming up, and they were one of the cheaper options for flights. So yeah, it was really all in the Lord's hands.
What did a typical day look like?
Okay, I'll go for it.
Every single day varied. We really wanted the whole trip just to be led solely by the Holy Spirit, and so we would make plans, or we would have different destinations set out that we had researched, but they were always interruptible, and along the ways we would stop and we would talk to people if we felt like God wanted us to, or sometimes we wouldn't even make it to the places that we had originally planned because everything just veered and we followed what God had for us that day. We did, however, set practicals for ourselves every morning and every evening to start the day out with gratitude, with worship, and to align our hearts with the Father and with what He had for us in each place. And then we would end the night with thankfulness and kind of like a recap so that we could soak in and just really remember everything that we did, and write down the testimonies of the day. So other than that, the in-between was very flexible, very versatile, and we just did whatever we felt led to do.
Yeah, the whole word of the week Maisie's mom came up with, which was evangelizing, and she combined evangelism and sightseeing together. So during those in-between periods, like Maisie was saying, that was one thing we really did was we tried to go out and see the Lord's creation, but at the same time being mindful of the Spirit and evangelize while we're out and sightseeing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out Miss Kimberly.
What was your favorite country that you visited?
Mine was Indonesia. I liked Indonesia because it's so beautiful. The sunset is one of my favorite, and nature is relaxing and enjoying God's creation. Yeah.
They were all wonderful in their own ways, but personally, Singapore really captured my heart. I've always wanted to go since I watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians, and I never thought that I would ever be able to fulfill the dreams of getting to go to the places you see in the movie, but God sees those little desires of your heart, and that was just truly a blessing. And yeah, Singapore.
Yeah, I'm with Maisie. I feel like every country had its own moment, I guess, to shine. But I'm with you, May. Indonesia, Bali specifically, has always been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. Just hearing about Bali. And then to be able to go and enjoy the Lord's creation, everything that He's made, it was really a bucket list. I cannot say bucket list. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and surfing in Bali, it was amazing.
Honestly, Malaysia was my favorite. They're all pretty close. I just enjoyed each of them differently. But Malaysia, there's something about it, the atmosphere, the architecture. I love architecture. And so when we were walking around the city, just really enjoyed seeing the different parts of the city, and was it India? Little India there was really cool, and one of the main buildings that we walked around for a while, and then just the people interactions we had were really good too.
What goals did you set for yourself?
I had some goals of just really wanting to push myself to step out of the comfort zone. I'm a very relational person, and so I like to build a relationship before I share the gospel. And with such a short time in each country, we really had to step out of that and pursue people immediately. And so that was one of the main goals that I had, of asking the Lord to give me opportunities to push that. And it went well.
The biggest goal for myself that I set was to be able to blatantly and deliberately share the gospel without having any kind of fear, without really like even leading up to it either. You know, with discernment, of course, not just being pushy, but not beating around the bush or, you know, warming myself up per se, but just to say like, do you know Jesus, and get into it and do exactly what I signed up for on this entire whole race. And then another like smaller goal, I guess, was to find a travel size Bible, and like I guess I'll pull it out real quick. Jesus, he answered that goal or that desire, because I found a travel size Bible along the way, which is so neat. And then another one was to meet a lifelong friend, and that's another testimony we'll save for later.
I love how you keep it, you're still keeping the sleep. That really grabs
So
me.
it keeps it safe.
Okay, a goal I had for our YMCA trip was I really wanted to learn how to do this after the race is over. Like how do I travel to multiple countries in kind of a quick amount of time, make connections, and be able to evangelize? It's something that I've been wanting to learn the whole trip. And I think it came down to our little side trip for me to kind of feel confident enough of like, okay, this can be done, can be my life after the race, whether that be full-time missions or whether that just be doing missions in my hometown and then doing like a week of vacation. And who's to say that week of vacation can't be a time of evangelism? And I feel like not just myself with that goal, I feel like as a team we really accomplished that goal of like, okay, this can be done, this can be our life, and who's to say you can't evangelize while you're sightseeing. So
What is one testimony you would like to share?
For me, it was when we were in Malaysia. We had like plans to go sightseeing, visiting like I think it was a park, but somehow while we were on our way, we ran into another park before we got to our destination. And I saw like, first when I walked by, I saw a person that looked like they were homeless, but I'm like, well, I don't know if they are homeless, maybe they're just sitting there. So I kept walking, and then I saw a man in a wheelchair, and I was like, I hesitated about like going back to talk to him, but I'm like, I don't know, I just felt like God wanted me to go and talk to that man that was in a wheelchair, because his leg was amputated. So I asked Alexa to come with me to go talk to this man to see what's going on. And then little did we know that at this park, there was a park for homeless. They sleep there at night, and they sit there all day, and they wait for a lady to bring them food once a day. So we were able to, through that process, we were able to pray for them and bring them food every night that was there. So it ended up being like 13 people that we fed. So yeah.
One of the testimonies that I'll share is the last night in Bali. I really felt on my heart from the Lord to go get henna, and I know that sounds random, but Maisie had gotten henna like the first night we were in Bali, and she had this really cool story about her conversation with the guy as he was doing the henna. And like from that story, I felt it very strongly in my heart to go back to the beach and find that guy and like continue to have a conversation with him while he did my henna. I got some of it left, but we didn't end up really looking for that guy. We came on the beach and met Charlie, which was another henna guy that Maisie had talked to that first day. And just immediately started talking to him about like how I wanted, you know, it to go all the way up my arm and price and everything. I just felt peace about like doing it with him, even though it wasn't the guy that I thought was originally on my heart. And it was just really an awesome evening. We went to watch the sunset and just spend time with the Lord on our last night on the trip. And I just had this hour-long conversation with this man about his family, about his life, and got to share the gospel with him. And that was one of the ways that the Lord helped me meet my goal of just being more comfortable in sharing the gospel with people immediately. And yeah, I got some cool henna out of it too.
Okay, a testimony I would like to share is a testimony about a woman named Chi that we met. So Yume and I were evangelizing in the gardens by the bay in Singapore, and we were gonna get a taxi from the gardens, but it was like a surge, so it was really expensive. So we were like, to save money, we will cross back over the river. It'll be like an extra like 30-minute walk. But that's just Yume and I. We like to save money if we can. But we were trying to save money, so we were gonna walk back across the bridge over the river and hopefully get a taxi that would be cheaper away from the surge, because there's a lot of people in the garden. So we were walking on the way back, and we get to like kind of like this boardwalk area on the river, and there was a girl kind of sitting in the dark up on these like kind of like step down seat bleacher things, and I made eye contact with her and I smiled at her, which isn't, you know, nothing ordinary for me. But the Lord told me to stop and talk to her. We were in a rush because we were trying to meet back up with them. And so I was like, no, like, we don't have time. We need to keep going. So like, we kept walking, and the Lord's like, no, turn around, go talk to her. And I still kept walking. And the third time, the Lord was like, no, like, go talk to her. So I was like, okay, Yume, like, are you okay if we turn around? So we turned around and we went and talked to her. We talked to her for a bit, like on the river. We come to find out that she's a Christian, which is kind of a testimony in itself, because Alexa had on her heart that she really wanted to meet a Christian while we were in Singapore. We didn't even know that until after we met Chi. And then we kept talking and then invited her to come to the market with us to meet our friends for dinner, and she was willingly said yes, walked with us all the way across the river, and she took us to this another like monument thing, and then we met them for dinner. And then that next day we got to meet back up with her, pray over her with some things that are going on in her life. And she ended up telling us that she normally never makes eye contact with tourists because there's so many tourists coming in and out of Singapore. So she said that in itself was like really strange for her to make eye contact with me, and then for me to make eye contact with her. And she said she was up there that night like talking with the Lord, like that was the reason she was up there, because she had been feeling unloved, and she was praying to the Lord to bring people in her life to feel loved. And I truly believe like she was the whole reason we went to Singapore. Like just hearing everything that she had been praying about, what we had been praying about, the encounter we had with her, us being able to pray over her that second night and just really fellowship with her and truly make a friendship in like 24 hours. It's incredible to witness, and yeah, it was an amazing testimony.
I have a lifelong friend now in Singapore.
Thank you, Chi. You're awesome. We love you,
Miss you, Chi.
and we will see you again.
Personal testimony. This one came from Indonesia. I met a man on the beach who had never heard about Jesus. He had never held a Bible. He didn't even know what a Bible was. And keep in mind, Bali, Indonesia is known as the island of gods. So there's idols and there's gods everywhere. There's spirit houses. They worship the sea, they worship the air, and they worship the fire. Those are the three gods, and you can tell because they'll hold bracelets, Hindus do. And he explained all of this to me. I was just curious. I wanted to know more about Hinduism and his life and what his beliefs were. And he was like, what do you believe? Which was just a beautiful, like, ample opportunity to talk about Jesus. And so I was like, I believe in Jesus. And he was like, Jesus, you know, who is Jesus? He's the Son of God, right? That's about all he knew. And it was just, it was kind of heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking that he was like 40, 50 maybe, has never heard about God or Jesus or the truth. And like getting to just be a vessel in that moment for the Lord to speak everything out through me was really just, life-changing. I hope that a seed was planted. Actually, I know a seed was planted there. He even got to hold my Bible with his hands and read some scriptures together, and I just will continue to think about him and pray for him. But just, I think it's mind-blowing that Indonesia is the island of gods, and yet they don't know about the one true God. And then another quick testimony was that not once over this entire trip did I get sick. That was something I was very worried about going into this, because flying makes my joints swell, it makes my legs break out in a rash, like oftentimes my immune system starts to degrade. But I was so healthy, no spots whatsoever. That just was another confirmation from God that I was supposed to be on this trip, and that he carved out this time for all of us to be on this trip.
Your favorite memory overall? What was your favorite memory?
I don't know. Favorite memory, that's so hard. There's so many good memories.
Whole thing?
The whole trip.
Just the whole thing?
If you go watch
30 minutes, by the way.
Hopefully we can cut it and it'll be done in like 15. Okay. My favorite memory was snorkeling with the manta ray. We didn't really get to see a lot of manta rays. Thankfully I got to at least see one, which was huge. Just that trip in itself was really fun. I enjoyed seeing the ocean. Everyone knows I love the ocean, and just being near the beach, smelling the salt water, probably a good highlight for me.
For me, I think going to the beach and watching the sunset, and then also watching Maisie get her hand on them, and watching her share the gospel with the artist person.
Oh, our first night, we landed in Malaysia and we went to go get dinner really late, and I really enjoyed our Grab driver that we had. He just was so honest but hilarious, and like he was making comments about, you know, he likes to drive at this time because we get stuck in traffic and he'll charge us more on Grab and different things. But like we were also like, he was open for us to pray for him at the end, and like he was telling us about how he does oil shipping in the Indian Ocean, like around all the different countries, but then he's on his off time, and he bought a farm to make palm oil, and it was just really random. And it was just our first experience like on this trip interacting with someone in that way, and yeah, he was so funny. I just really enjoyed that time.
My personal favorite memory was getting to see, I'm not sure if the camera will be able to see this, but the Super Tree Observatory. It was a part of the Garden by the Bay in Singapore.
Keep it
She's
there.
zooming in. If
Okay,
you
that's
see
beautiful.
Crazy
Yeah.
Rich Asians,
cool.
that is where Colin and Aaron meant to have their wedding, like reception. And I don't know. They played jazz music and we got to watch the light show, and that's just something I'll never forget. It was just so beautiful, and it was an honor to be there by the Lord.
Thanks for traveling with the YMCA. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to Free Women's Travels. Thanks to all of our supporters, all the prayers, all the fundraising. We love everyone back home. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Actually, I feel like I want to reword that. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I don't.
I want to reword mine too. I'm thinking like, what all I could have said better.
Yeah.
You'll always want to redo
And I got
anything.
cool henna out of it, like I bad. Why did I say that?
Like,
Okay, next question.
It looks like you've been here your life.
Don't touch me.
Normal. It looks like you've been here your life.
Don't touch me.
Normal. Okay.
It's nap time.
Can't even chew gum there. They don't sell gum. That's how strict they are.
yeah, fun fact.
That's crazy.
Caroline pulled out some gum one night, and man, did she get looks. Everybody around her glared.
Yeah, I didn't know it was $400.
$500.
Sorry, $500. $500 fine if you chew gum in Singapore, and I accidentally broke the law unknowingly and chewed gum one night in a public, crowded space, and I got a lot of looks pulling out that gum packet out my bag, and I just thought maybe people wanted a piece, but
They probably do.
it was my last piece, so I didn't offer anyone else, so I threw it in the trash. Yeah, thankfully I didn't get caught though, so we're good. But yeah, Singapore's very clean.
Yeah.
No gum on the street.
No.
Not even in your mouth.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
This is also the last question. Oh, Caroline, that last when they were all talking.
The Lord kind of let it. I was something that you may, or not you may. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today.
Oh shoot, I'm not recording.
Are you serious?
No.
I don't know if I told the testimony very well, but
You did.
do you want to add anything?